Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Reed Hadley stars as Western lawyer Chad Remington in an episode of Frontier Town. This episode, entitled The Trail Drive, was originally broadcast June 12, 1953.
Frontier Town, the saga of the Roaring West. Frontier Town. El Paso, Cheyenne, Calgary, Tombstone. Frontier Town. Here is the adventurous story of the early West, the tamed and the untamed, from the Pecos to Powder River, Dodge City to Poker Flat. These are the towns they fought to live in and lived to fight for, teeming crucibles of pioneer freedom. Frontier Town!
Howdy. If you're ever out on the frontier and happen to need a Frontier Town lawyer, well, my name's Chad Remington, and the Frontier Town Dos Rios. Not that I haven't got a few clients. I have. But after my last experience, what I'm looking for right now is a little more restful case. To tell the truth, and even a Frontier Town lawyer is expected to do that. It all started when I was out looking for a little rest and relaxation. With the buffalo and elk on the move, I gathered up Cherokee O'Bannon, who owns the Dos Rios livery stable now that he has forsaken the patent medicine game. And together we set out for the Tierra Piedra country, buffalo guns thonged to our pommels and rifles slapping easily in our saddle boots. We were loping along high up in the tangled crags, and everything was serene. Or serene was the way it looked.
Counselor? I say, Chad, what are you looking so happy about?
Because, Cherokee, up here with no troubles to bother me, I feel happy. What are you looking so glum about?
Well, not to put too fine a point on the matter, my boy. It's just because up here in this Satan-forsaken barren wilderness, we're 2 days' ride from the nearest establishment which purveys nectar. Nectar spelled W-H-I-S-K-E-Y, whiskey.
Cherokee, for a man who made his dubious living by using his wits, you certainly are lacking in resourcefulness.
Resourcefulness? Now, how could resourcefulness get me even 2 fingers of liquid mine up here?
You see what's growing all around us, don't you?
Well, my palate may be decomposing for the lack of lubrication, but my optics are sharp as ever. Naturally, I see what's growing all around us. Mesquite. What's there about mesquite to salve my thirst?
Don't you know what the Indians make from mesquite? A delightful witch's brew known as mescal.
Pox on mescal. 2 ounces of that stuff, and a man might end up married.
Well, you're up in Indian country now, Cherokee. And if you're thirsty enough, you'll do as the Indians do. Drink mescal.
You really think I could try cooking some up when we make camp tonight? I got that Dutch oven in my saddle roll, and... Say, look there, Chad. Isn't that a flock of sheep on the move, just down below us?
Yeah. Looks like they're being trailed, too. Must be between 700 and 1,000 sheep in that flock.
That's another example of what mescal will do to you.
What's mescal got to do with trailing a flock of sheep?
Well, anybody who'd trail a lizard through this country must have been drinking mescal.
I can't disagree with you there, O'Bannon. This isn't even fit for mountain sheep. And there seems to be only 3 people tending the... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what? Now what's the matter?
Quick. Look across the other side of this valley, up by that chimney rock. Doesn't that look like a yellow shirt?
A yellow... Billy Blue Blazes, Chad, you're 100% right. It's a yellow shirt, and that means Indian.
It sure does mean Indians. Apaches. And unless I miss my guess, they're after those sheep.
Well, there aren't enough of those redskins to risk a raid.
Maybe not, but there are enough to be scouts. There, you see now? They're turning their ponies and heading north. Probably going to tell the main body of the raiders that they've located the flock.
Well, even with this buffalo gun, I couldn't reach them from here, Chad.
Well, the only thing we can do is ride down and warn those herders what we think they're in for. All right, Cherokee, knock on that piece of crowbait. This gravel's loose, it's a downhill ride, and we've really got to make tracks if we're going to get there in time.
Up there, fella! Get to running! Ah! That way!
see, Palada?
I can see Pablo no longer.
My brother's up ahead trying to turn the ship to the left. We do not wish to lose one ship before we deliver them to Fort Lincoln.
See, Diego. To sell to government contractors what we've been working for 6 years now. And we must not... Diego,
See, what happened, Palada? What is it?
maybe I make a mistake. I do not think so. I saw a flash of yellow shirt and rocks up ahead.
Yellow shirt? Sacre madre. Indians.
Call Pablo, quick.
Pablo! Pablo! Palada, he cannot hear this far. I shall ride up ahead and...
Diego, it is too late. The Indians are all around us.
Ah, Pilado, off your horse. The Red Devils shall not get our ship without a fight.
Quick, Diego. 2 of them get behind us.
Then we take care of them first. Palada, those two not Indians. Those white men. They come to help us, and they...
Diego mío.
Hand me a few more of those stones, Cherokee.
Here you are, Chad.
I'm sorry that we didn't have something more to dig with than our hands, Senor Velicheta.
It does not make much difference, Senor Remington. These graves are temporary only. If we ever get a ship to Fort Lincoln, Diego and Pablo shall have fine graves back home with marble headstones.
You'll forgive my intruding at a time like this, Senora Valachita. But how is it that you're taking your sheep all the way to Fort Lincoln?
My husband, Diego, had arranged to sell all the sheep to Senor Branquantro.
Branquantro, huh? What is he now, a government contractor for beef cattle and sheep?
See, he has contract for meat with the government.
That just gives the lie to the old adage about early to bed and early to rise and living an honest life. Government contractor.
You already know this, Senor Quantro?
Like a book. About 3 years ago, he was down in our neck of the woods. But he sloped fast when we found out that he was peddling whiskey and rifles to the Indians.
Even bad man, if he pay price for sheep. That is all I ask.
Well, Senora Velcheta, since Cherokee and I are doing nothing in particular, I don't suppose you'd have any objections to our riding along with you and making sure that the sheep get through.
Oh, no, Senor. You have no reason to be any more help to me. Already you drove off the Indians. Even though my husband and brother-in-law were killed, you saved the flock.
Now, I'm not above taking credit, but we didn't drive off any Indians, Senora.
But I saw you when you and Senor Remington come up behind us. That was when Indians ride off.
That's when the raiders rode off. I've got a pretty good nose for smell, Senora. And those men didn't smell like Indians. The men who raided you smelled mightily like two-legged polecats. White men. And if you don't object, Cherokee and I sure mean to find out.
Why don't the lot of you shut up? Only a bunch of half-wits would bungle a simple little job like that.
Now, wait a minute, Bronk. We didn't do the bungling. You just didn't send enough men.
What are you talking about, Schiller? There were 8 of you, and only 3 of them herders, and the 2 men you say rode up.
Yeah, but them Jaspers that rode up behind us. Ask Eddie. Ask anybody.
That's the truth, Bronk. Maybe if we'd seen them coming, it would have been different, but they caught us by surprise.
And you can shut up too, Eddie.
Well, yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Talk. That's all I get. Well, if I'd have been along, we'd have had them sheep.
Oh, sure. If. Nobody stopped you from coming along, you know, and if you ask me...
Eddie, you better be leaving. You're through.
I'll say I'm through. For good this time.
And the next time I send anybody out to get them sheep, I think I'll dress them up in dunce caps instead of like Apaches.
Senor Remington,
Yes, Senora?
you feel the air?
Well, if I'm any judge of the weather, it feels and sounds as if a storm's coming up.
Storm would certainly wreck everything up here in these mountains. There are 2 rivers to cross between here and Fort Lincoln, and a real storm could...
Now what, Chad? Well, you're staring like Galileo with his first telescope.
Hold it, rein up.
There is trouble, Senor? You smelled something again?
I don't know about smelling it, but I certainly see something. Look over there. Isn't that a man riding toward us?
My Godfrey, it's an Apache. Well, look, he's wearing a yellow shirt.
Perhaps he wear yellow shirt, but that man ride in saddle. He white man.
It's a white man, right enough. And he isn't just out for the exercise. He's riding straight for us. Howdy, friend. Something we can do for you?
Maybe so. First, I'd like to do something for you.
Something for us, huh? Well, first, maybe you can explain what you're doing wearing an Apache shirt.
I was one of the men who raided these sheep this morning.
Why, you blasted, no good, unprincipled...
Now, wait a minute, Cherokee. There must be a reason why he raided the sheep, and another reason why he rode out here in the middle of nowhere to tell us.
Maybe you are the man who killed my Diego.
Ma'am, any shooting I did was over your heads. You see, I thought I recognized you, Remington.
Remington? Do I know you?
You know my brother, Jimmy Bakewell. And it was you who got him paroled.
And you must be... Let me see. Yes, you must be Eddie Blakewell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Since I figure one good turn deserves another, well, I took my life in my hands and rode out to meet you.
But why? What do you want to tell us?
You know who engineered that raid this morning? Bron Quantrill.
Quantrill? But he's the man who's supposed to buy these sheep.
Sure. He said he was going to buy them, but that ain't the way Quantrill runs his business. You see, he arranges to buy cattle and sheep providing they're delivered at Fort Lincoln.
Yes?
Then, by dressing his men up like Apaches, he gets the animals and the Indians get the blame.
But why you come to tell us?
Why? I'll tell you why, ma'am. Because Bron Quantrill is as cussed as they come. And for one, I've taken all the slapping around I'm going to take.
I suppose now that he missed the sheep this morning, it's only made him more determined, huh?
It sure has. When he comes out after him next time, he'll be bringing every man-jack that works for him.
Oh, more trouble. I start to believe the whole thing is not worth it.
I've never heard a Bass talk that way before, Senora Velcheta. And certainly never an American. Now, how far behind us is Quantrill and his gang, Eddie?
Well, about an hour and a half at the most.
Yeah, this is a fine hogshead Dills. I suppose this is the only trail to Fort Lincoln?
The only trail, yeah. But you could get there driving these sheep across Diablo Basin.
Diablo Basin? Oh, no. It is so hot there, and the sheep move so slow we would die before we were 1 hour across.
There's a river the other side of Diablo Basin, isn't there?
Yeah, the big Salamander. But you'd have to swim the sheep across, and that water's plenty high.
Well, if this storm breaks, the water will be plenty higher. Just the same, folks, with Bron Quantrill right on our heels, I'm going to try to get these sheep to Fort Lincoln if we have to drive them halfway around the world to get them there.
Hey, wait a minute. Line up. Oh, hey, whoa up there. Hey, Scheller. Where in tarnation thunder do you think they're driving them sheep?
Looks from here as if they're heading into the Diablo Basin, Bronk.
Into that furnace? You don't get to Fort Lincoln that way.
You could if you went up through the painted rocks till you got to the big Salamander, then swim them across.
They couldn't swim that themselves, even without the sheep, you loco.
I'm not, but maybe they are.
I wonder what made them change their minds and go that way.
Yeah. Sounds like they knew we were behind them.
By blazes, Schiller, I'll bet that's it. Eddie Bakewell. Well, now I want 2 scalps hanging from my belt. Remington's and Eddie's.
If we could get through them lava beds, we can probably head them off before they hit the river. That's tough going.
I don't care how tough it is. Let's ride.
All right.
We started out, I just wanted the sheep. Now it's Remington and Bakewell, too. And by Jasper, if I have to follow them into prairie dog holes, I'm going to get them two if it's the last thing I do on this earth.
We'll return to the second act of the Trail Drive, our exciting frontier town adventure, in just a few moments.
And from June 12, 1953, Frontier Town on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to MediShare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of Frontier Town, June 12th, 1953.
Well, are you beginning to understand why I'm looking for a little quiet law business? I've had my back to the wall a few times in my young life, but never has my back been jammed against a series of walls. Bron Quantrill and his little band of high-spirited gentlemen loaded down like an arsenal right behind us, 800 and some odd head of tired and frightened sheep ahead of us, a volcanic blast furnace known as Diablo Basin to the left of us, and the big salamander running brown and dirty over its banks, aided by the fury of a mountain storm to the right of us. But when you're boxed in on all four sides, there's not much you can do but plunge ahead. And in the case of Palada Velicheda, Cherokee O'Bannon, Eddie Bakewell, and myself, plunging ahead hits the nail right on the thumb, because there was very little left for us to do but herd the flock of sheep up to the edge of the big salamander and get ready to plunge in. And that's a prospect I never want to face again as long as I live, if I live that long.
Senor Remington, even this seems a miracle, getting this far. But anyone who sees the river cannot need to know very much to realize these sheep, tired and weak from the drive, will never be able to swim across.
Well, if I were a betting man, and I am, I'd give you 10-1 the sheep can't make it. And 20-1 I can.
Cherokee, you've been around the frontier long enough to have learned that where there's water, there must be cottonwoods and willows.
What a remarkable discovery, Professor. Go to the head of the class. Cottonwoods and willows.
Remington, what do you mean? You think maybe we can hide the sheep on the trees? Well, because if you do,
I wish to goodness we could, Eddie. It would be a lot easier. But as long as I seem to be running a school here, do you remember what Noah did when he was confronted with rain?
Well, unaccustomed as I am to the perusal of religious literature, it so happens that I am well acquainted with old man Noah's resourcefulness. As I was always interested in what a man would do when completely surrounded by water.
Senor Chad, you do not think we can build an ark like Noah?
That's right, I don't. But I do believe that we could build a few rafts, lash them together, and pull the sheep to the other bank without losing even one kid.
Raft? Madre de Santos, we have no tools.
Even if we had the tools, we haven't the time.
We've got a few tools that Cherokee and I packed for our hunting trip. And as far as time goes, well, we've got as much time at our disposal as the good Lord will allow. All right, come on, boys. We've got some hand axes and some rawhide, so let's be unpacking those tools and getting to work before Bron Quantrill gets here and goes to work on us.
I never would have believed it, Chad. Got about enough logs now for one raft.
Save your breath, Eddie. Because if we don't get through with this job, and soon, Quantrill may see that none of us has any breath left.
Even this rain, I'm as hot as a furnace.
3 rafts already.
Yep, and what you'd better do, Palanda, is to start herding some of those sheep aboard a raft. You never can tell when we may have to leave sooner than we expected.
Hi! Get aboard there! Say, Chad.
What is it, Cherokee?
What do you say to sheep that make them move?
Well, you have to learn to talk their language, Cherokee.
Their language?
Sure, you've got to get behind them and say,
yeah. You know, Chad, if it weren't for you, we never would have had it. My friend Joe, look there. Look, just coming up over the edge of the painted rock.
Indians, Apaches.
Apaches, nothing. That's Bron Quantrill and his gang. And not only have we spotted them, but they've spotted us.
Not only have they spotted us, but they're getting our range. That was my hat.
All right, come on. Grab our horses and let's get aboard those rafts. Palada, start moving those sheep.
Ándale. Ándale.
Come on. Hey!
down the other side.
Well, you're wearing a gun, man. Don't leave our flank unprotected.
Look, Chad, two of them crawling down there in the willow.
Thanks, Cherokee. I can see them good. Right over the side of this buffalo gun. All right, now, pull. Pull for the sandbank. Get them over there. Push.
Oh, Lord almighty, Cherokee. I never thought we'd make it.
I was just about able to pull myself up the bank, Eddie. For a few moments, I thought I was gone.
Why, you just leave it at Chad to... Something, Joe, where is Chad?
Well, he was right behind me on the last raft.
If anything happens to him, Cherokee, isn't it him out there? Down below us in the river.
Where? I don't see any... Sweet, merciful Providence, it is Chad. Well, he's swimming his horse up to help Halida.
He's got hold of her, but the weight's too much for him. Cherokee's not going to make it.
Well, he's going to make it if I have anything to do with it. Say your prayers, Eddie, and keep me covered.
Ah, you blame fool! You can't swim out, John.
Frontier Town on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Frontier Town, starring Reed Hadley, June 12, 1953.
Well, I'll be hamstrung. Full of booze and with hardly a muscle in his body, and look at that O'Bannon swim.
Hang on, Chad, I'm coming.
Cherokee, look out! Look out for the horse! Poor fool, he's never gonna make it.
There you are. I think we got most of the water out of you, Cherokee.
I didn't want to have to die full of water.
Oh, Senor O'Bannon, never have I seen a man swim like you do, so fast, just like a fish.
Well, Senor, anytime I get into water, I just can't swim fast enough. I just can't wait to get out of it.
Oh, no.
Well, it sure looks like Quantrill gave up, all right. From the yelling I heard from the opposite bank, Chad, there was a couple of them ran-a-hands who felt your lead.
And it's all right with me. And if I sound just a little bloodthirsty, I mean to. 30-4 aren't very good odds.
Well, senors, now that the storm is over, we had better move the sheep again.
Yeah. And if we don't get out of here, Quantrill might change his mind and get around behind us again.
How far would you say it is from where we are to Fort Lincoln, Eddie?
About 8-9 miles.
Well, the sun's coming out again, and that'll dry out our clothes while we're riding. So I say, let's get back on our horses and be off for Fort Lincoln.
Whoa there. Whoa.
All right.
All right, you boys drop by tomorrow and I'll pay you off. All right, come on, Shirley.
Hey, Bronk, if you're going to your office, I'm going back over to my place and fix up my shoulder. It hurts like blazes.
Yeah, Shirley, go ahead.
And if I was you, I'd go someplace, too. I wouldn't want to show my face when Remington hits town.
Think I'm that big a fool? I got some mighty important business to take care of up in Dakota. Like they'll be gone a couple of weeks. See you when I get back, Shirley.
Sure, Bronk. See you then.
Yeah.
Well, howdy, Bronk.
Oh, it's you, Eddie. What are you doing hanging around my office?
Waiting for you.
You know something? I'm glad you're here. Gonna save me looking you up.
Yeah?
Did you run across Chad Remington after I threw you out this morning?
Up in the Diablo Basin, you mean? Yeah. Yeah, I seen him. And I told him what you were planning to do. And you know something else? All he lost was 7 sheep crossing the big salamander.
Yeah? How do you know what he lost?
Chad told me. And if you're interested, he's standing right behind that closet door.
Chad, here?
Of all the things you ever pulled, Cointreau, trying to rustle those sheep from those poor Basques was about the lowest.
What are you doing here, anyhow? Why are you always showing up someplace where you don't belong?
Oh, but I do belong in Fort Lincoln. You see, I'm going to be the government star witness when they try you for murder.
Chad, watch it! Watch it!
And if you try to pick up that gun, Cointreau, I'm promising you this much. I'll jump you and bang your head until it goes clean through that floor. All right, Eddie, you get his gun. And then we'll take him over to the post guardhouse. Being a government contractor, Mr. Cointreau's picked himself up a nice charge of a federal offense.
Senor Chad and Senor Cherokee, all the things I have in my heart to say to you, when I make them into little words, somehow they turn to a big lump in my throat. And, well, nothing comes out.
Senor, as an expert on human ailments, I diagnose your case as the very common sediment in the throat.
Sediment in throat? Is that serious?
Pilata, believe me, the disease may not be serious, but I'm willing to bet that Cherokee's remedy will be.
Oh, you have a remedy? Good.
Madam, the first thing you'll have to do is rustle up a bottle of alcohol. Since I know you can't get alcohol out here, I suggest you get something like alcohol, namely good old drinking liquor.
Oh, no, you don't, Cherokee. You're not going to get a drink that way or any other way.
I'm not? Chad, you even treated those little lambs better than you treat me.
Naturally.
Naturally?
Naturally. You want me to treat you like a hog.
A hog, senor?
Yes, a hog, Pilata. You see, Cherokee wants me to let him get a snoot.
Frontier Town, starring Reed Hadley and featuring Wade Crosby, is a Bruce Ells production. Story and direction by Paul Franklin. Music written and played by Ivan Ditmars. Be sure to be with us again same time next week for another fine action-adventure story with your favorite young Western star, Reed Hadley. And now this is Bill Foreman to tell you that Frontier Town comes to you from Hollywood.
June 12th, 1953, Frontier Town on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, another episode of The Couple Next Door, starring Peg-Lynch and Alan Bunce. This episode originally broadcast June 12th, 1959.
The Couple Next Door, written by Peg-Lynch and starring Peg-Lynch and Alan Bunce.
You in line bed all morning?
No, I'm getting up. Just lying here thinking what a beautiful morning it is.
It won't be such a beautiful morning if you're late to work. Come on now, Aunt Effie just went downstairs to get breakfast.
Oh, that's a pretty dress.
Mm-hmm. It's a house dress.
No, it looks nice. You know, in case I never mentioned it before, I want to say that I'm glad you're not one of these wives who come down to breakfast in a sloppy old bathrobe with your hair a mess. You know, you always look pretty in the morning.
Oh, thank you, dear. You're in a
do.
good mood this morning.
How can anybody be in a bad mood? Now I ask you, is there anything nicer than a spring morning with the sunlight pouring in and the dew still on the grass? Did you hear the doves this morning?
Oh, yes, there was one on a branch just outside the window.
And what is so rare as a day in June, then if ever come perfect days, then heaven tries the earth if it be in tune, and over it softly her warm ear lays. What's next?
I don't remember, dear.
Yeah, funny how you learn certain things like that in school and you never forget them. I always liked poetry anyhow, especially Browning.
Wasn't Browning, though. Oh, where's my lipstick? I think Betsy got into everything yesterday. Powder, lipstick.
What do you mean it wasn't Browning?
That poem. What is so rare as a day in June? That isn't Browning, dear.
Robert Browning.
No, I don't think so. What you're thinking of is God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. That's from Pippa Passes by Browning. That's what you're thinking of.
Charlie, that is not what I'm thinking of at all. I know what I'm thinking of. What is so rare as a day in June?
Well, it's not by Robert Browning.
All right, then who is it?
Well, I don't know who it is. I know who it isn't, and it isn't Browning.
Robert
Probably
Browning.
Wordsworth.
Oh, Wordsworth. You're thinking of that Daffodils one, you know. I wandered lonely as a cloud.
I'm not thinking of the daffodil.
Have you seen the kitchen? Come down here.
Oh, now what? What's the matter, Aunt Effie?
You should see the kitchen. Come down here quick.
Oh, I should have known this beautiful day was too good to be true. Go see what's wrong.
Remember the terrible forest fires that threatened whole communities along the Pacific coast last year? Or have you been in the vicinity of Bar Harbor, Maine, and seen miles and miles of beautiful forest land ruined by fire some years ago? Fires that destroy valuable timberland, wipe out whole towns, and endanger lives must be avoided. And it is possible, because 9 out of every 10 forest fires are man-made, made, that is, through man's carelessness. A match tossed away when it's not quite out, a lighted cigarette butt flicked out the window of a passing car, the smoldering ashes of a campfire left to burn itself out. These can and do cause costly conflagrations. Summer and early fall are forest fire times, not so much so because trees and underbrush are affected by the intense heat, but because more people are using the wood for hikes, picnicking, and camping, and more people are driving near or through wooded areas. This summer and all year long, make it a habit to be careful with fire whenever you're in or near the woods.
Well, I didn't notice them when I first came down to start breakfast. Then suddenly I saw one on the counter, then another, and then I looked down at the floor, and here was this whole army of them practically just marching in from the back entry.
Oh, honestly, this is terrible. Really, I just... Dear?
Yes, I'm coming. Well, what is the matter?
Come here and look. I suppose it's the maple syrup that attracted them.
What's the maple syrup? That's what I said last night. I said if the back entry and those steps weren't just scrubbed, that this is exactly what would happen.
I know. Well,
what
that's
is all the hullabaloo
Well,
about?
just take a look at the kitchen.
Oh, I don't see anything.
Well, look at the floor. Look over there and here and here and here. Ants.
Oh, my God.
Yes, just dozens of them, hundreds in the back entry.
Said you scrubbed that back entry well last night, and the steps.
I did.
You wouldn't let me do it. You said it would take real elbow grease.
Look, I scrubbed until my arms ached. It is a job trying to clean up sticky maple syrup, and the Whole place was covered with it.
Well, you must have trailed some into the kitchen here on your shoes. That's probably why the ants marched in here.
What's the matter? Oh, my dear. We have thousands of ants coming into the house from the back entry.
Why? Because they like the maple syrup your father thought was varnish last night.
Oh, honestly, I still don't see how you could have mistaken the maple syrup can for the varnish.
They were just alike.
Except that one said varnish.
Well, I didn't see that. When you told me what kind of a can the varnish was in, and then I went into the basement storeroom, and that's the can I saw. I assumed it was varnish.
Well, how anyone with a grain of sense...
I did not know that Mr. Dibble had given us a large can of maple syrup.
Well, I told you, dear, months ago.
And it did not say maple syrup.
Well, I should have thought when you started to varnish the back entry and the steps, you would have noticed that something was funny.
Well, I thought the varnish was old. I told you that. I didn't want to take time to buy any new stuff. I wanted to get it varnished and over
I
with.
should think
Look,
really
we went
that-
over all this last night, and I don't want to discuss it anymore. I spent 2 hours scrubbing it off.
Well, you certainly didn't get it all off. The syrup must have seeped into the cracks or something.
Well, I can't help that. Heaven knows I worked at it until I was blue in the face.
Do ants like maple syrup?
Do they like it? Look, they're having a Thanksgiving Day feast.
How did the ants know it was there? Did they smell it?
Well, I don't know, dear. Well, we'll have to do something, that's
Can
all.
ants smell?
We'll have to go down to the store today and get some poison to put around, I suppose.
Poison? I can't put poison around the baby, Aunt Effie, to say nothing of the cat and the dog.
Can ants smell, Daddy?
You don't have to put that kind of poison around. They must have something on the market that's harmless to children and animals, but poisonous to ants.
Well, I certainly hate to take a chance. Bobby is into everything.
Can ants smell, Daddy?
Now, the first thing we better do is scrub this kitchen floor before we track any more around. It's sticky all over in little spots.
Daddy?
Why don't you answer the child?
What, dear? What is it? What is
Can
it?
ants smell?
Can ants smell? I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess so.
Do ants have noses?
I suppose so.
Why are you so cross?
Well...
She's just asking a question.
Well, how in Sam Hill do I know whether ants have noses or not?
Well, you're always telling Betsy that when a person doesn't know something, he should go and look it up.
Oh, look, will you, it is late. I still have to shower, get dressed. I gotta have breakfast. I gotta get to work. I have a back entry and 4 steps alive with ravenous insects. I do not have time to dig out the encyclopedia to see whether ants have noses or not.
Betsy, you go upstairs and finish getting dressed. We'll have breakfast ready by that time. We'll eat in the dining room this morning. Come on, run along.
Now, I hate to tell you this, but the ants are also in the bread box.
That's impossible.
Well, look for yourself.
How could they get in there?
Where there's a will, there's a way, as far as ants are concerned. And I'll tell you something else. Once you get ants in the house, you will always have them.
Honestly, a brand new house. You mean we're in for a lifetime of ants?
Mm-hmm.
Look, that is ridiculous. There must be dozens of different kinds of ant killers.
Well, I can't put poison around with Bobby. That's all.
Well, what we'll have to do is get an exterminator.
An exterminator?
Yes, an exterminator.
Yes.
Well, we will certainly do no such thing.
I should think not.
What's the matter with you two?
Well, I am certainly not having any exterminator.
Why?
I'm just not, that's all.
I don't blame you.
What's the matter with you?
Well, how does it look?
How does what look?
Oh, you know perfectly well, don't you?
No, I don't know perfectly well at all.
Well, you know what I mean, Aunt Effie.
Yes, I should say I do.
Well, I don't. I would like to be enlightened, if you don't mind. What is...
Why, what if anybody found out that we'd had an exterminator? I'd be so embarrassing.
Embarrassing? Why?
Oh, really, dear.
Yes, why?
Well,
Why?
because it would look as though she's a terrible housekeeper.
Well, this beats me. I don't know what the heck is the matter
People
with
might not think we just had ants. They don't be so thick. They would think that we had, well, that maybe we had...
No, I don't know.
Some other kind of bugs come with keeping a dirty house.
Oh, for Pete's
Well, I'm not
sakes.
going to have an exterminator.
This
and that's
is without
final.
doubt the most idiotic. To begin with, how would anybody know that we'd had an exterminator unless you tell everybody?
You think I'm going to have a truck sitting out there in our driveway that says exterminating company, we kill everything, or something like that?
Oh, for the love of Mike.
You run along and get dressed, Aunt Effie and I'll get breakfast. And after you and Betsy are gone, we will get to work scrubbing.
Yes, we'll scrub thoroughly with everything we can think of. Maybe you ought to drive down to a drugstore and ask if they know of anything that would help.
Oh, gee, I hate to ask.
Well,
A man might not even believe me when I tell him it's just for ants.
Well, why don't you buy something else and then just casually ask if he has anything for getting rid of ants? Don't say you want them, just say you have a friend who has them.
You may wonder what kind of friends I have.
Honestly, you two. Will you tell me what is disgraceful about having ants?
Well,
I mean, we live practically in the country with woods all around.
Will you go and get dressed, dear? Just go and get dressed, please. Now, come
Look,
on. Aunt Effie and I will do what we can.
I am calling an exterminator. You hear me? Whether you like it or not.
Oh,
I mean, the way that maple syrup has seeped into the cracks, the only way to handle this is to call an exterminator, and it better be done today.
He's here.
Oh, no.
Yes, they're talking in the kitchen.
Oh, dear, what does he look like?
You wouldn't know he was an exterminator at all. He's nicely dressed, dark blue suit, white shirt. Looks more like an ambassador.
Yeah, come on in, Mr. Sykes. I think my wife would like to hear what you just told me. Oh, dear, this is Mr. Sykes, my wife.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs. Piper?
Well, we've never had ants before, really. Maybe one or two, you know.
Well,
but
no,
never.
it's our business to see that you don't have them anymore. And as I told Mr. Piper, the truck that is used for the removal of the, intruders, shall we say, is a plain van. There are no signs on it, no identification, so you are protected in every way. I can assure you we are most discreet.
Oh, well, that's good. We've never had exterminators before, and
We don't use the word exterminators or exterminating. We prefer to call ourselves entomologist removers.
Oh, yes, I see. Well,
So, stop worrying, will you? You just trust Mr. Sykes to handle the situation. Yes, indeed. And if I could use your phone, it's possible I can have the problem taken care of today.
The phone is out here in the hall. I'll show you.
Well, you feel better?
Yes, I guess so. You better get to work. You're late now.
Yeah, oh boy, what a morning. From the sublime to the ridiculous, huh? Oh, what is so rare as a day in June with the exterminators arriving at noon?
Oh, I know. I thought I'd do that with James Russell Lowell, The Vision of Sir Launfal.
No, darling, I'm sure it was Robert Browning.
Well, it doesn't matter. Get to work.
Oh.
Now what?
Well, car keys. What'd I do with the car keys?
Oh, honestly, dear, every morning. Aunt Effie, come
Car
on, help
keys.
look for
Mr.
his car
Sykes,
keys.
The Couple Next Door is written by Peg-Lynch and stars Peg-Lynch and Alan Bunce, with Margaret Hamilton, Francie Myers, and Leon Janney, and is produced by Walter Hart.
And you heard that name, Margaret Hamilton? Yes, the woman who played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, in a very comedic role. From June 12th, 1959, The Couple Next Door on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in. Please thank this station. Support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. Now, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can find our shows at Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon by searching Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, or just go to my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can hear the shows there. You can also learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me there, find our social media links. Yeah, you can even tip me if you want. Buy me a coffee. That would be nice. classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends that great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.